Hey champions, today I have for you amazing bleed rend setup to level up your barbarian really quickly like there is no tomorrow, and your enemies will have more issues than your ex-girlfriend because most likely they will be all the time stunned, vulnerable and immobilized, so you can deal any sort of damage on their heads without breaking a sweat. It's really fun setup to use. I'm using shouts in this one and dead blow as cherry on top of the cake for final blow. Everything works really together nicely with our stomp slash earthquake. But before we continue, quick word from the sponsor DVING.net. If you want some power leveling up or if you don't have time for that, then these guys can help you all. With my promo code RBDA you will have 15% discount on absolutely all services on any game these guys can help you on. But now let's get back to this setup. Don't get me wrong, there are tons of setups you can use at early stages of your playthrough, maybe Hammer of the Ancients, but I think the Rend could be one of the best setups to use early on if you want to progress really quickly through the story, reach level 50, unlock next tier, and then work your way up to whirlwind setup maybe, or to the last difficulty. Long story short, in this one we are using a lot of synergies. On my helmet I'm using aspect, which will give me additional charge for my weaponry skill, aka dead blow. Unfortunately you need this unique chest piece if you want to be real effective with your shouts. 40% chance to reduce the cooldown of your non-ultimate skills by 1% when you inflict bleed on elites, and we gonna apply bleed on our elites non-stop with Rend, and yeah, so it's really important to find that chest piece. It will help you a lot. When we gonna berserk, and we gonna berserk a lot, we gonna stun enemies and deal damage to them. Damage reduction again against bleeding enemies on my pants. Unfortunately roll is not that high, only 10%, but you can gain 20% reduction. It's really nice for survivability reasons because we're gonna face tank tons and tons of enemies. All the minions will be in our face. We're gonna apply bleed and you need survivability. And if we gonna if we will deal direct damage to bleeding enemies, we have a chance to stun them. If we're gonna stun them, they will not be able to attack us, and that will increase our survivability. On my one of the weapons I'm using earthquake aspect. Earthquake will deal damage to nearby enemies, and while I'm standing in earthquake I'm dealing more damage as well. It's really nice with your dead blow skill. This unfortunately is not the role I wanted. I messed up a little bit. Nevertheless, you want second weapon, you want to increase your weapon mastery damage. So you're gonna apply bleed effect with your Rend. You are increasing your damage reduction, you are increasing your DPS output, you are stunning enemies, and on top of that you are stacking next shot with your dead blow, and you have 2 charges with the dead blow, so eventually you can simply hit everybody in the face with your hammer or axe. As your rings, pretty goddamn self-explanatory. You need to use rings that can reduce the cooldown with your shouts. And on my amulet I'm using barrier. Really nice amulet at early stages of the game. 4000 armor is a lot, baby. So that amulet is providing me with tons and tons of armor. For my skill tree, let's go. Lounging strike will help us a lot to close the distance. It's like mini leap. Pretty dope skill to use at early stages of the game, especially the Rend. I strongly recommend you to spec Rend really quickly, and Furious Rend will give us actually Fury. So we don't need well, at early stages you need Fury, so go with Furious Rend. Later on, once you're gonna reach 30, level 40, I would recommend you to deal more damage to vulnerable enemies, because we're gonna make them basically every enemy around us will gonna be vulnerable, and for that reason use 3 points at pressure point skill part. Ground Stomp is really dope skill actually to use for Barbarian. It deals okay damage. It can reduce the cooldown for your core or ultimate skill, excuse me, or it can generate fury. At early stages of your playthrough, when you are leveling up, definitely use fury option. Later on, if you want to berserk or maybe use ancient's power, then go with cooldown reduction for your ultimate skill. But at early stages, fury. Well, all the shouts pretty goddamn self-explanatory. Increase damage, decreasing incoming damage, and you are generating resources. Mobility for me is a really key point with Barbarian because he's slow as F, and I love that little bit of quickness in him, and he dodges a little bit better. You can take a lot of shit on you. Basically everything and everybody will pour on your heads, even if you're gonna stand in poison. You have stomp, you have death blow, you have tons of damage. Yes, you will use potions, but by killing enemies you're gonna get those potions back really easily, and this setup is something different than your typical whirlwind setup. And like I said, it's really nice from level 0 to level 50ish plus, and later on you're gonna transition naturally to whirlwind setup. You're gonna see it, you're gonna find you will find better and better pieces, and yeah, it's just normal progression. You're gonna adapt your playstyle. But to apply vulnerability, guys, it's really important. Our dead blow skill will apply vulnerability to our next core skill. So after we're gonna use dead blow, our Rend will apply vulnerability, and now Rend can deal more damage to vulnerable enemies as well. If you're gonna spec out later on, not in fury gains, but in damage to vulnerable enemies. And of course, for berserking damage reasons, I have to use this one. I will leave my skill tree and paragon tree link down below in description or pinned comment. So yeah, see you in the next one. Bye.